Okay guys, welcome back. So we're going to continue on our testing of this new EXP prototype ball from Titleist.
Yes.
We done a little bit of testing with it a couple of weeks ago against the Pro V1 as a baseline, and we found they really weren't similar at all.
No.
But we thought the characteristics were suited more to comparison with AVX.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
So it was definitely a little bit lower spin, felt a little bit softer, you
Definitely.
thought?
Definitely was softer than, I don't think it would be mistaken for a true, I guess, low-end golf ball that are very, very firm. So something in it is a softer sort of material, but I don't think it's the cover by the look of it, maybe, or there's something different in the construction of it. But I have a feeling these balls are a little more similar than most people would think.
It's interesting. I'm really looking forward to actually the kind of unveiling of what this ball is and where it sits. You know, I've seen a little bit with what other people have thought with it in the last couple of weeks. People are saying it's going to sit between like an NXT and a Pro V in terms of its category and do its own sort of thing in there. So when we talked about it last week, I was interested to then get an AVX and kind of compare dimple patterns. It's actually not similar in the slightest, is it? So you know, it's more sort of internals. I saw actually someone had cut it in half. I can't remember who it was, but one of the YouTubers I saw had cut it in half. It was a three-piece golf ball, a really, really large mantle.
Yeah, and there was some inner stuff.
Yeah, there was literally just one sort of layer and then the cover. So it'll be interesting to see though when we compare these, because this is a very premium golf ball.
It is very expensive. $65 here.
$65, and if this is obviously a similar performer, then you know the people who like this are in for a bit of a bargain.
And that's what we saw a lot of in the comments, was people basically hoping to God that that's what it is, because it's such a good ball. But I have a feeling it's probably going to be a replacement for something. I don't see this as a new ball. They already have 7 balls in the lineup. Yep. To me, this is probably the new version of Tour Soft, or it's the new AVX or something. Like I don't see them adding another ball, but I guess we'll find out.
I mean, I suppose it's one way to get a little bit of buzz around your golf ball is get people who are curious like us and you guys, I'm sure, and get us testing it and see what we think of it. Then, you know, by the time it's out there,
it's a smart idea.
It's been tested to death, and we know exactly what it does.
It's very true. Yep. Okay. Pre-testing has been in public.
Well, let's do our thing. Let's get some wedge shots, some 7-iron shots, and then let's hit some drives with it and see how it compares in flight and launch and spin, etc.
Okay.
All right.
Let's do it.
Come out a little bit lower, didn't it?
Did.
Oh!
Little tick.
Hit the pin. Lovely.
Sounds completely different, doesn't it?
Does sounds entirely different. That's nice. That's nice. You nicked that.
What's that?
Down!
Get down! Golly. Good.
Lovely.
Good. Tasty.
Really nice.
That was good. This is good. There we go.
It's a totally different flight. Starting out way lower than I'm used to seeing.
I like that.
Nice.
Yes.
Pound town. That's nice.
Yeah, that's good.
That's hit well. It's a monster. Okay, so not really the results we were expecting.
Not so much, no.
A little bit of a different sort of spin profile, I think, between the two. Based on the testing last time to Pro V, and EXP obviously spun a little bit less, which made us think it was a sort of comparable ball to AVX, but
yes.
it really wasn't.
No.
It was quite actually a lot more spin, which I think it might even surprise us even more.
700 RPMs is a lot
Yeah.
for any two balls, but between two balls that we figured were in the same category, that's obviously separating them quite a bit. And then the feel was bizarre because the AVX feels really soft.
Really soft.
But then somehow launched higher, spun less. Bizarre.
Well, the thing is with this one, it's obviously, not obviously, I think we've came to the conclusion in our minds, it's not going to be an addition to the premium golf balls offered
Just
by
by
Titleist.
the look of it, yeah.
Yeah,
Agree
just
with
the
that.
cover and materials, it doesn't appear to be in that category. So interesting that it spins that high. So it's kind of got almost the characteristics of a premium ball,
Yes.
which is lower launch, higher spin, but it's could very well come at a lower price point.
Yep.
And I think that could be of a lot of interest to people.
100%. If that ends up being the case, then this is a ball that a ton of people would like to buy, I would think.
So, as I said, about a degree less launch, 701 RPMs more spin on a 54 degree wedge. Pretty decent. Jump over to the 7 irons and we saw a similar sort of thing.
Yep. And I was surprised again, so I was double testing it just before we got ready.
Yeah, you retested it, didn't you?
It was consistent. Like the EXP was always 65, 66, and the AVX hovered around 6,000.
Well, here's an interesting little one that's kind of came, and it followed the same sort of trend, 7 iron. Driver was very similar, to be honest, between the two.
As we know that's going to be the case,
But one thing that really stood out today, if I actually jump ahead here, was the speed off the AVX that you seem to be getting. So the AVX was 2 miles an hour faster off the driver and 1 mile an hour faster off the 7 iron.
Yeah, and it's a super soft ball.
For a really soft golf ball, a low compression golf ball, that's an interesting one.
It is an interesting one. And that's what we kind of saw with this. We thought it would be a softer compression than a Pro V.
Yeah.
It ended up being, was it faster than Pro V? Anyway, whatever. It was very close. It wasn't slow
I
by
don't
any
remember
means.
exactly where it stacked up, but
So a couple times it's popped up, this little sort of like the pattern that we were seeing with the firm balls being faster a lot. I don't know that that's totally gone, but there seems to be some exceptions getting kind of sprinkled in there.
it's a good point. And thinking back to the Tiger ball,
Yeah,
we found that was actually quite quick.
very fast.
Additional, definitely additional spin from that one, but it was quite quick as well. So, I mean, the sort of narrative on ball compression and slower,
Yeah,
maybe.
at times.
And we sprinkled in because it caught our attention when we saw this, didn't it?
Yes.
So we threw in a little, TP5X for comparison, and sure, there's a little bit of a difference: higher launch, lower spin, marginally quicker. I mean, it was a really well struck shot.
That might have just been struck a millimeter better,
Sure.
let's be honest.
And this was
really
an
close.
average of shots. This
Yeah.
was just, that was an
one.
average with AVX. So that was interesting for us to see, wasn't it? That if you have a preference for a softer golf ball, it doesn't have to come at the expense of performance.
I think you need to just test it and see.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are soft balls that would have dropped way off. but maybe AVX and this have a cover or an internal structure that, I don't know, retains some of that. I'm not sure.
I went back actually recently and looked at our original video when we started dipping into this thing. It was some people were kind of asking if we've done much test on compression, and I knew we had done the Wilson Duo.
Yep, I remember that.
Maybe the super low compression golf ball versus Z-Star XV. It wasn't any more than 2 or 3 miles an hour.
Oh, really?
I think it was 2 miles an hour.
Really?
Yeah, it wasn't
wild.
It wasn't wild by any means. So yeah, I think that's an interesting little nugget for people, just to, for you guys just to see that if you do prefer a softer feeling ball, if that's your preference with the wedges, don't worry too much about sacrificing a ton.
Unless you've really seen the data to support it off your own swing.
Yeah.
But we haven't seen it much. It's there, but I don't think it's enough to sway your decision in either direction, if the rest of the ball is what you like.
Definitely. Interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
So in terms of the AVX versus the EXP, though, they don't appear to be related from our testing.
No.
They were quite different today, and as we always do, we kind of almost get paranoid that we're seeing something that we're not expecting, so we double test these things, and it showed up the exact same thing. So it just appears to be a very high performance mid-range price ball. That's what I'm guessing that it is.
I think it got a little bit more interesting to me after this test versus last time.
Because it retained so much performance with the wedge?
A lot of spin on a wedge, yeah. I think that's the part where everyone goes, I want to buy a ball that costs less, and I know we're theorizing, who knows what it's going to cost, but assuming this is cheaper, if that wedge spin can be had for less money, then it's actually something unique, I think, from this company.
Could be. Okay, so we're pretty much done with EXP, probably until it comes out, until we know what it is, and
until we test the prototype against the real ball, maybe, or something like that.
Yeah, maybe. And that's the other thing, isn't it? It's still a prototype. It may change again. It may evolve, and through the feedback that Titleist get, they may make some subtle tweaks, and the finished version, I'm sure that we'll see at the PGA show.
That's right. Yeah.
We'll see if it's the exact same ball.
Okay. Stay tuned for that.
Stay tuned. More golf ball testing to come. We've got some Turby X and Turby XS to test. We've tested the XS a couple of weeks ago, and we're going to test against the firmer version, the lower spin firmer version. So it'll be interesting to see how much they separate. I think that'll be quite an interesting one.
A lot of interest in that ball after our first test of that. So yeah, look forward to that one.
Excellent. Okay, stay tuned, guys. We'll see you again soon.